Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's episode of Modesty's Money Masterclass. This is season 2, episode number 18. I remain your man, Ikenna Umezudike. Welcome to another Monday, and today we are going to be discussing how to remain poor, part 2. Right? How to remain poor, part 2. Yes, so honestly speaking, I'm short of words. Last week, we started this series on how to remain poor, and it's proven to be very popular. It's proven to have been very helpful to a lot of people. We have received so many vibes, positive vibes, so many positive feedbacks on that. And those of you who were here last week could testify to the fact that it was an eye-opening session for a lot of people. So when we talked about how to remain poor, a lot of people did not understand where we're driving at until we started digging deep into that particular topic. And hi, good day, Felix. Thank you. So today we are continuing from where we stopped last week in our discussion on how to remain poor. Okay, so if you do not understand what we're saying, what we're trying to achieve here, simply with Modesty's Money Masterclass, the aim is to achieve financial liberation through financial education. Okay, that's just what we aim to achieve here. But with this particular topic on how to remain poor, and what we are trying to achieve is to teach you how to remain in bed with poverty. If you love poverty so much, if you hate poverty so much as I hate it, this might be an eye-opener to you on how exactly what exactly you need to do to get as far away from poverty as possible. Okay, and I'm not talking to you as somebody who was born with a silver spoon. I'm not talking to you as somebody who has had it so easy all through his life. I'm talking to you as someone who has tasted poverty, and I know how disgusting the taste of poverty is. And I'm giving you tips and ideas of things that, I didn't learn these things from my parents. I didn't learn these things from them. I learned them by experience and interaction, and by research and knowledge and all that. And then I got, through that experience, interaction, research and knowledge, I got to develop certain principles that have helped navigate my lifestyle far away from poverty, as far away as possible. And it's a continuous journey. And it's a journey that I am really, really desperate to get as many people aboard as possible. Because I really believe that the key to liberating people from financial hardship is financial education. The more financially educated people are, the wiser they will be in their implementation of that knowledge, and the wiser they will be in their management of their finances. And if you gain this knowledge and you gain these experiences and you help yourself with this sort of education, trust me, your mentality is going to be different. Your attitude is going to be different. Your thought processes are going to be entirely different. What is glowy and shiny to people will just mean nothing to you, because you'll be absolutely focused on one thing, which is making sure you are financially secure at all times. Okay, so that's why I've embarked on this journey to teach people, and then I dedicated this series to teaching people what it takes for people to remain poor. So as many as possible, and as many as are interested in getting as far away from poverty as possible, this is for you. But hey, I know that people watching me and listening to this might fall into two different categories. It's either you are in love with poverty, or you hate poverty so much that you want to do everything possible to get away from it. So I don't know what category you fall under, but at the end of this session, your attitude will change, or it might remain the same. So whatever happens, I just need you to pick something before you leave here. And whatever you are able to pick and you're able to implement it, it's going to be good for you. It's not for my own sake. It is for your own sake. I mean, it's for my own sake on one hand, because the more I talk about these things, the more I reinforce them, and the more I become convinced, the more convinced I become that they're the right things to do, and the more motivated I am to do them, because I am on the same journey as you are. So last week, we started with defining what poverty, who is poor or who is a poor person and all that. And then we talked about the different categorizations of people according to their financial statuses. We talked about, we classified people into 4 different categories according to their financial status. Number 1, we talked, there is the poor, then there is the rich lookalikes, there is the rich, and then there is the wealthy. So we knew that the poor are the people we're talking about who are financially incapacitated, who are incapable of living a normal standard life. A normal standard life, a standard of living that is considered normal. They lack the financial capacity to do that. Then there is the rich lookalikes, those who look rich, but they are not actually rich. They are all about liabilities and no assets. They can borrow to eat, they can borrow to drive, they can borrow to watch TV, they can borrow to sit on the sofa, they can borrow to buy a free day, they can borrow to go on, they can borrow to do anything. Once their income comes in, they are paying debts, everything goes out, and they pay out all the people that they borrow, and then they borrow to pay debts as well. So they look rich, but they're not actually rich until you come to them and say, hey, can you square me 50 pounds quickly and let me just do something, I'm giving it back to you too. And they will tell you that they don't have 50 pounds. And you think that they are joking. They're serious. Then you look at the type of cars these people drive, the kind of house they live in, and the kind of clothes they wear. You must be thinking, these guys are swimming in cash. It's all bling bling, nothing. Okay? Then there is actually the rich. The rich are the ones who can do anything to maintain their rich lifestyle, right? They might have a few assets, but then their liabilities are also high because their lifestyle commands their liabilities. So they can do however many jobs it takes to maintain that rich lifestyle. They live from paycheck to paycheck, and they're just one paycheck away from going to poor. So they are rich actually, but then they are not wealthy. They can afford their lifestyle, but they can just afford it. So by the time they finish paying for their lifestyles, the money they earn is finished. They are waiting for the next paycheck. So if it means doing 2-3 jobs to maintain that lifestyle, they will do it because they are hard working, but they just don't know how to manage those resources. And there is a wealthy. The wealthy ones we talked about are the ones who have more assets than liabilities. They are the ones who actually don't care about lifestyle. They care about assets. They keep on building assets upon assets upon assets. And their assets, the return from their assets, actually now finance their lifestyle. And, that's how they live. So that's how we categorize people according to their financial statuses. And then I told you last week that there are 16 points I've listed down on how to remain poor. I gave you 3 of them last week. We talked about, living above your means as number 1. Number 2 is never save. This is how to remain poor, yeah? Number 3 is for you to detest investment, hate investments, That's the first 3. So we have 13 more to go. And out of these 13, I don't want to overload you with information. So we're not going to deal with the whole 13 today. We're going to deal with another 7 today. So I'm going to give you 7 more tips on how to remain poor. And that means that this is going to drag into next week again. So by next week, we're going to come and round it up with a part 3. The reason is I don't want to overload you with the information, so that even if you're going to go home with only one thing and only one point, that's enough for me. And if you can implement that one thing or one point and it helps you, that's enough for me as well. So continuing from last week, so number 4 on how to remain poor today is avoid financial education. Avoid financial education. So if you want to remain poor, avoid anything that will enlighten you, anything that will educate you about how to manage your finances. Just what you're doing now. Stop watching me. Turn your video off. Turn your TV, turn your laptop off. Turn your phone off. Don't watch me again. Just go home. Go and do something else. Because what you're doing now is exactly what poverty hates. Do not read any books that will educate you on how to manage your finances. Do not listen to podcasts that will educate you on personal finances. Don't watch YouTube videos that will show you how to invest, what to invest in, how investment works, and how to save. Do not do any of those. Do not watch programs like this, where you gain knowledge on how to manage. If you want to remain poor, this is what you do not need to do. Never ever get yourself involved. Don't attend programs, where they teach you things that how to manage your finances. I don't mean programs where they advertise it and make you pay all that money. Some programs are designed to just lure you into the program, and then they will now sell you what they want to sell you. No, those are not the kind of program I'm talking about. There are absolutely free programs. There are absolutely free resources that are going to teach you exactly what you need to do to get yourself out of poverty. If you do not want to get out of poverty, please do not subscribe to such programs. Do not ever attend them, because poverty hates things like that. And as long as poverty hates things like that, if poverty is your friend, it will be so unfair for you to offend your friend. If poverty is your friend, why would you want to do anything that will take you away from your friend? So do not do any of this. Now let me give you a little bit more about financial education. When we say financial education, we don't mean people with financial degrees. We don't mean people with who went to school to study finance and they came out. That is a completely different thing. I am a financial expert myself. I have 2 degrees in finance, right? But I'm going to tell you that classroom education is completely different from the real life education. Classroom education is meant to just give you classroom education is meant to give you an opportunity to gain qualifications that will help you earn money. One second, sorry. Yeah. It's meant to give you opportunity to gain qualifications that will enable you to earn money so that you can earn a living. Classroom education prepares you to earn a living. It doesn't prepare you for real life. It is when you come out in real life that you encounter what real life people encounter. Classroom education doesn't tell you that you should not borrow to spend or to consume. Classroom education does not tell you the need to continue to save and build up emergency funds for yourself up to 3 to 6 months worth of your monthly expenditures. Classroom knowledge or classroom education does not tell you how investment works. It does not tell you how much you should invest from your income. It does not tell you the proportion of your savings rate that is appropriate for you. It does not assess any of it. I got degrees in finance, and none of that prepared me for real life financial situation. So there are people who work in banks, but they are incapable of managing their own personal finances. There are people who work in banks, but they still borrow to live. They still borrow to go on holiday. They still borrow to spend. They still borrow to consume. Their debt is piling up even as bankers. So you might look at them and you might think working in a bank should expose them to all this. No. They might have the qualification that enables them to earn a living, but that qualification does not prepare them for real life. When you come out in the real life, you need to gain real life financial education. That is what takes you out of poverty. When you come out with your degree, it prepares you to earn good money. But what you do with that money and how you manage it, you need a different set of orientation to deal with that. And that is what really keeps you away from poverty. Not what you gain from the classroom, not the knowledge you gain from the classroom. It is the real life financial education, what we are discussing today, practical things that affect your everyday life. So that's number 4 point if you want to remain poor. Number 5, if you want to remain poor, is to abhor insurance. Hate insurance. Don't let anybody come to discuss insurance with you. And as long as you are in absolute detest of insurance, I guarantee you, at some point, you will understand how that works. Let me give you an example, right? If you've got assets and those assets are not protected, and those income that you are earning that is enabling you to live is not protected, what's going to happen is the moment you lose income, the next thing you'll be thinking about is your investments. Oh, Now I'm going to dip hands into these my investments, and I'm going to be living off those investments because I haven't got any more money coming. So you're going to go into your investments, maybe your index funds or the shares that you bought, or even your property or whatever assets that you have. You're going to go there and you're going to dip hands into that investment and be using your capital, the money you have invested, or even the returns of that investment, to be living your life, because there is no more income coming in because you've lost income. Now imagine if you had protected that income, and you have taken up income protection, and you lost income, and then your income protection kicks in. What will happen is that your income protection will be providing you income, which means you will no longer have to touch your investments. So that investment, those assets are protected. And the reason they are protected is because you protected the income that provides you resources to invest in those assets. So if you hadn't protected that income, for example, through income protection insurance, you would have gone to deplete those assets. And the more you deplete those assets, the poorer you become. And in no distant time, those assets will finish. They will be liquidated. And what happens? You are left with nothing. You are back to poverty stage. So anyone who wants to accelerate their journey to poverty, please hate insurance. And people talk a lot about insurance, and they have no knowledge, no idea how it works. A lot of people give you a street's or a layman's view of insurance, and they have so many bad things to say about insurance. Ask them what their experience or encounter has been like. They will say absolutely, oh, I heard it from my friend. My friend said, they did this. Oh, my colleague at work said they did this. Oh, I heard it somewhere that they did this. No practical experience or personal interaction. They don't even know how it works. But then they go about spreading false knowledge, false information about insurance. Ladies and gentlemen, insurance protects your assets, and it protects you from being poor. Because the moment you protect those things that you value and those things that you love, you can go and do the things that you need to do with absolute confidence. So if you want to accelerate your journey to poverty, please hate insurance. Number 6 is for you to incur debts. Oh my goodness, poverty likes debts. There is nothing that takes you to poverty, close enough to poverty, as debts. Continue incurring debts. Take on more credit cards. Take on more personal loans. As long as it's for consumption, continue consuming them. Whatever you cannot afford, borrow to buy it. Yeah, that shiny leather sofa you've seen on TV. Oh, 0% interest rate for 3 years or for 6 months. Oh, bring it on. Oh, that's 95 inches TV. 0% interest. Don't pay nothing on it for 6 months. Oh, bring it on. Oh, there's a credit card. This credit card, you don't pay anything on it for 12 months. Bring it on. Holiday. Oh, don't pay anything, but it's just like 35% APR on the credit card, and bring it on. Keep on piling it. For every debt you are taking on, you are enriching somebody else and impoverishing yourself more, because the income you are meant to be investing is going straight into paying debts. And as you're paying those debts, the fat cats are feeding off your income. And every interest you have paid on the debt that you have taken is a potential investment capital that you have denied yourself. Take a look at the debts that you have, your credit cards and all that. Just sit down and work out how much interest you have paid on them for 1 year. And then imagine if you didn't have to pay those interests, and you had to take that money you would have paid in interest and put it in an investment account. That is the opportunity cost of the debts that you're incurring. So the more debts you incur, the more romantic poverty becomes. And very soon, you find yourself buried in those debts. And when you're buried in those debts, poverty uses a blanket to cover you. Right? That is a very quick way of getting to the poverty level. So incur more debts if you are so much in love with poverty. Number 7 of how to remain poor. This one is very, very interesting. Keep consuming, never produce. Keep consuming, never produce. There is nothing that poverty enjoys more than consumption. And consumption, to be honest with you, is sweeter and far easier than production. But then production is more effective, more satisfying, more fulfilling than consumption. The sense of fulfillment you have when you have produced something, the sense of fulfillment you have when you have achieved something, when you have created something. When you hear people say, I'm a wealth creator, the pride in that statement, the pride in that sentence, I'm a job creator, I'm a content producer. The pride in that statement and the sense of fulfillment that comes from it alone, the boost it gives you is unimaginable. But then, have you heard anyone who has come out to campaign, or anyone who has come out to convince people and they have said, I'm an ardent, addicted consumer. I can consume and consume and consume. I don't care about productivity and creation. Is that a proud statement to make? But while people don't say it, they do it more. So when you are focused more on consumption and less on production, you are on an accelerated route to poverty, because consumption takes away from you, but production gives back to you. Production fills you, it feeds you. Consumption takes away from you and feeds somebody else. So if you want to remain poor, please continue consuming. Consume every fashion, consume every electronics, consume every gadget, consume every household appliance, consume every car you can think of. Keep consuming. You know, every car you see, you admire, you want, whether you can afford it or not, you can borrow as long as you have it, as long as you look the park. Okay, keep consuming, don't produce. So many people have turned themselves into addicted consumers, and that's why they struggle with money every single time, because the moment they handle money, the only thing they are thinking of is, what are you going to spend it on? If you listen to radio programs where people win money on radio, the radio presenter always asks them, oh, if you win this money, what are you going to spend it on? If you win this money, what are you going to... That is what the media is promoting, consumption. If you win this money, what are you going to spend it on? Nobody has ever asked anybody on radio, on TV, what are you going to invest this money on? No. The question is always, what are you going to spend it on? And then here, because that question is, what are you going to spend it on? You hear people saying things like, oh, I'm going to go on a nice holiday. We're going to go and eat out in a very nice restaurant. I'm going to treat my wife to a special date. I'm going to treat my family to, some nice Christmas present. Consumption. So if you want to remain poor, please keep consuming and never produce. Number 8 today is never take risks. If you want to remain poor, please do not take any risk. Remain in your comfort zone. Whatever you are asked to do to be able to improve yourself, don't take any risk. Everything will appear too difficult until you start doing it. All right? Or go and take this exam. It will give you extra boost on your career, and it might actually improve your chances of getting something better than what you are. No, it's too difficult. I haven't got the time to go and study. I wake up early in the morning, I will be studying. I live a very busy life. I wake up in the morning, I take my shower, I take my children to school, I go to work, I come back, and I don't have time to study. Please do not take any risks. If you're invited to, if you're presented with an investment opportunity, rather than take time to study it and analyze it and see if it's too risky. I can't invest in this thing because I want my money to just remain where it is. I would rather use that money to go and buy myself a good pair of shoes than go and invest it in something, and then I'll have to wait for how many years before. Don't take any risks. Poverty loves people who don't take risks, and if you don't take risks, what happens? You don't get any return, because risk and return go hand in hand. And people who get more returns are those who take more risks. It must be calculated risks anyway, but life is full of risks. There is nothing in this life that is not risky. There is nothing in this life that does not involve risk. So why don't you take the risk that will actually add more value to your life than not take any risk at all and remain where you are? Number 9 on how to remain poor today is to have one income stream. Have only one income stream. If you want to remain poor, have only one income stream. That is a big risk on its own. And I can't think of multi-millionaires today. I can't think of any multi-millionaire or any financially independent person who made it with only one stream of income. No way. You might think that, oh, it's only one business there. No, go into that business. That one business does different things. Take Apple, for example. Apple, they've got their iPhone, they've got their AirPods, they've got the accessories, they've got the iPad, they've got the iPod, they've got the everything. All these things are different. And then you've got the Apple TV, and then you've got the Apple Music, right? These are different streams of income from one brand. They don't have to have, Apple doesn't have to have, this is Apple and then this is a subsidiary of Apple. It's Apple everything. But then within that Apple, they've created different sources of income. So if you want to accelerate your journey to poverty, remain only on one income. And if anything happens to that one stream of income, you're back to square one and you're on square zero even. All right? Number 10 on how to remain poor is to have a negative mindset about money. Some people have such a negative mindset about money that when you talk about money, they think you're talking about the devil. Some people even feel guilty saying that they have money. When they see people who talk about making money or that they have made money, or they have this negative mindset about money. And as long as you have that negative mindset about money, money will be far away from you. You'll be so scared of making money because you feel guilty making money. And the reason you won't have the zeal to go and make money is because you have always detested people who made money. So you now feel like a hypocrite, going to make money. But if you have a positive mindset about money and understand that money is a solution provider and that money helps you to solve problems, that's the mindset about money. If you have a problem that money can solve, and if you have money, use it to solve that problem. That's what money does. It's not meant for you to use money for any negative thing. It's for you to use it to solve problem. Solve your own problem and solve other people's problem. That is what money does. So if you have a positive mindset about money, the more positive that mindset is, the more desire you have for it because you want to solve problems with it. And that positive mindset leads to more money on its own. And that means as far away as possible from poverty. So this is where we're going to stop today, like I promised you. This is where we're going to stop today, like I promised you. This is the first 10 we have done, right? And from next week, I'm going to give you the remaining ones on how to remain poor. I hope this has been very useful to you. I really apologize for the interruptions we have with the phone calls and all that. I'm doing this from my office space, so there are bound to be calls coming in, and sorry if that had interrupted things a little bit. I hope we kept the focus, and I hope we kept the message, and I hope we got the message. So thank you very much for being part of today, and thank you very much for watching and for listening. And if you found this very useful, please feel free to share it among your friends, your family, your enemies, and anyone that cares to watch it. And this will be made available on our YouTube channel as well for those who can't access Facebook. Until next week, stay safe, stay strong, stay educated. Remember, financial liberation through financial education. That's what we're all about. God bless you and have a lovely week. Bye now.